Event today is the Ozark Youth Shooting Team, Sportsman's Banquet.
This program teaches kids, and I say that literally, kids. You start out in this program at 8 years old, and from that age, you are pounded with safety, everything.
This is our 9th year, and we do really well. All the money stays here in Benton County, goes to the youth shooting, and it's great things.
We have lots of stuff on auctions, raffle tickets. All the money goes to help support the youth shooting team of Benton County. The money stays here with this organization.
So 850, right all the way back at 850.
He's a 1-year-old riding the tank. That's big time.
Benton County Quail has been around for many years now. Alpen has been a big supporter of our group. I'm a committee member, I'm a grounds committee member, and I'm a cook committee member. So when you come to our banquets, you always have some good food to eat. The kids that are here and the kids that can't afford to come, we do not turn kids away.
No, this is the great thing where you can give your knowledge to these kids and then watch them grow. And we've already watched kids grow, go to college, get a degree, and come back and coach in this club.
I think it went fantastic. We had more $500 packages sold tonight than ever.
No hiccups that I know of so far.
We'll be here next year, Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise.
Well, here we are doing a little preseason scouting, early season, the summer months, and I do most all my scouting this time of year in the evening. Basically what I'm doing is I'm driving to the end of the farm, and we're going to be scouting basically the crop fields and the food sources. But I'm going to go down to the end of the farm, and I'm just going to kind of ease my way back up to the farmhouse, and we're going to stop in some of these different fields and basically just glass. We're just glassing deer. A couple of deer out in the hayfield right now, and it's hot, but they just cut this today, and I can smell that fresh alfalfa. Got to have that food. There's no acorns yet, and this is deer candy to them right now. We're out in an alfalfa field here, and it actually just goes and breaks up over the hill here. And there's usually deer on the other side, so I'm just going to kind of ease up to one of these hay bales, and I'm going to glass over the edge just to see what's out there. But as I get closer to season, now I'm looking for those bucks because their antler growth is pretty much completed, and at that point I can tell what bucks I have, and hopefully compare them to some of the trail cams that I had from last year, and I'm also paying attention at that point where they're coming to, where they're spending their time. That'll tell me where kind of the travel route of that deer. But right now these deer are just coming out in the evening to feed, and it's just a lot of fun to see them. One of the most important tools that I use this time of year for scouting, obviously, is a good pair of binoculars. So whatever you're using, make sure you have a good quality pair of binoculars when you're doing your early season scouting, because you're doing a lot of glassing in low light. See, they've got to have this new growth. These does, they have to have that new growth for lactating purposes. This alfalfa gives them a great supply of milk for those little ones. And know that in a few months I'll be in a tree stand waiting for them to come walking by.
Hi, I'm Rick White, and today I want to share with you an easy but great tasting deer backstrap recipe. And it's really quite easy. The first thing I do is I just coat it with olive oil. I've got a backstrap here that I took from a deer last year. It's all cleaned up, ready to go. I just put a little bit of olive oil on it just to keep it from sticking on the grill. Just rub it on there. That's the first step. The next thing I do is I want to cut a pocket out of this backstrap. All right. Now I don't want to go through the other side. I just want to cut a pocket right down the middle. You can see how I'm opening that up. Once I've got that pocket cut open, and there's not any science to this, it's just pretty simple. Just try not to cut your finger. Now, I want to fill it with blue cheese and garlic. And I've got some blue cheese here. And really, how much of it just all depends on how big a backstrap you have. I just dump some in and fill it up. There's no exact measurement. Got the blue cheese in there. I use minced garlic. And just put a little bit of minced garlic in there. And if you like garlic, just add a little bit more. And just kind of push it in. Get it right in that pocket. Close it up. And the next step, now you could either tie it or you can use toothpicks and basically just close it up. I just use the toothpicks because it's easy. It's really simple. And one more for good measure. So there it is, all ready to go. Next step is just throwing it on the grill. Now it's just a matter of cooking it the way you like it. Me personally, I like my steaks medium rare, but you can cook it however you like. Here in just a minute, we'll check it. All right, this time we're going to show you how to sight in the Alpen Apex scope. Now Ryan's got his AR-10 and he's got the Alpen Apex 4.5 by 27. Now he also has the sunshade and the honeycomb on it, and it comes with the scope. And what it does is it filters out all this sunlight that we're dealing with here today. So again, your gun would already be bore sighted like this one is. Take the first shot and then we'll show you how to make the adjustments after that shot. All right, so as I said, the next step was to bring the crosshairs down to the bullet. But before we do that, we're gonna take the caps off and we're gonna pull the turrets off, okay? And there's 3 set screws in there that we're gonna loosen up. We're gonna go ahead and make those adjustments, get everything sighted in, and when we finalize the sight in, we're gonna tighten those set screws, put the turret back so we have a 0 position on it, and then we'll put the caps back on and we're good to go. The next step now is Ryan's gonna hold the bullseye on the red dot, and I'm gonna make adjustments to bring the crosshairs down and over to the bullet. And that's what we're gonna do right now. Pretty close, aren't we?
Yeah, just hair to the
right. I gotta go to the left. It's gotta go left, right? Or not? Yeah, I got to go to the left. Are you on?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is right.
Good.
And I got to go down just a little.
Yeah. Other way.
Other way.
Just the side of that red, but I pulled.
So we can pretty much assume that we're on, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the red.
All right, that's all it takes. 3 shots, and we're in the red.
Start now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the Hunt with Alpen Optics. And although I'm not a weatherman, we're going to talk a little bit about the weather tonight because we've got some pretty interesting weather going on, at least around my area. I'm Rick White, and our guest tonight is Mr. Phil Smith. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show this evening. I'm your host, Rick White, and you're watching On the Hunt with Alpen Optics. And before I check in with my guest tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've got going on. Now, we've had throughout the United States, there's been some really crazy weather here in the last week, and our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to the folks in Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky. Boy, they've had it pretty rough for sure. And of course, our man behind the scenes is down in Arkansas right now. How'd you guys do down there, Paul? Were you okay around the weather?
No, it's been windy all day long. I'm telling you. I think if it was any windier, I would swear my dad was talking. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Yeah. So you guys didn't have the tornadoes weren't really, I know, in your area, but
No, we did.
Away.
We had a tornado south of here by about 50, 60 miles. That same storm system that came through that hit Kentucky. It's same storm system, and we had a big hook on the radar that went over top of us, and we were all watching it pretty close because I was working at the TV station for 5 years. I was taught how to do storm chasing. And I was looking at that radar going, ooh, we better watch out.
Hey, Bridge. Just hollering at my wife here. Call Carolyn and tell her not to call me. See what she needs. Oh, my daughter was trying to call in while I was doing the show here. And if I don't let her know what I got going on, she'll probably
keep calling back.
But I was down
I'll tell you there's bad weather.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was down in Kentucky, a week ago, and then I was in Indiana when all that happened over at John Dallas's fellow pro staff member and doing a hunt down in Indiana. But we've got right now tonight. Well, let me just tell you this today, and it's Iowa we're talking about, December 15th, I think today, and it was 74 degrees where I live, which is almost unheard of. Our high tomorrow is about 30, and we've got a terrible storm coming in this evening. There's tornado watches and warnings going on right now, and they're saying anywhere in the state of Iowa between 80 and 100 mile an hour wind gusts. In my area, they're talking 60 to 80 miles an hour. It's supposed to be starting about right now. The worst is supposed to hit us around 8 o'clock, and it's supposed to be out of here by midnight with some prevailing strong winds afterwards. So anyways,
I'm showing the radar.
I'll be up till midnight.
The radar
making
up
sure everything's okay.
So I've got the radar up right now for Iowa, and that doesn't look fun at all.
No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be. And after what we went through last year, we can't take another one of those storms. So hopefully everything will be okay. But anyways, hey, let's keep moving right along. Our guest tonight is Mr. Phil Smith, and he comes to us from Indiana. Phil, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, pretty good. I'm lucky we ain't got the weather you guys got coming.
Now, this is the first time you've been on the show, and you've been a religious viewer for a long time, but the first time you've been on the show. So I'd like you to tell just the folks a little bit about yourself. Anything you want to let us know?
Just I've been hunting since I was about 8 years old. Hunted, lived in Indiana my whole life. Got a wife, 2 kids, 2 little girls, and I work for the railroad, and that's about it.
You and Jordan Dean both railroad guys, huh?
Yeah,
Now,
I guess
please,
so.
please tell me you're not a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
No, Chiefs.
Okay, good. I just had to throw a little pun in on our pro staff member Jordan Dean. He's from Missouri, and he's a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. And I always cheer on whoever's playing Kansas City. I'm not
Cowboys. Are you still cheering on the Cowboys at that point?
Who, me?
He's a Chiefs fan as long as they're winning, right?
No, I am not a Chiefs fan. I never.
Oh, Jordan.
Jordan is. Yeah, Jordan is. So, anyways, Phil, I just when I was out in Indiana last week, you and I had dinner together, and we had a good talk, and you were telling me a few things that you had going on. But one of first of all, you're a hunter ed instructor, and I want to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But you also have 2 girls. And you every year try to get them out in the woods and hunting, whatever it might be. And I know you took them out deer hunting this year. What was their experience? Did they have a good time, and did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, we always have a good time. I try to make it as comfortable as I can for them. Get them out there, get them to enjoy it. I take them out pre-season, hanging cameras, putting out mineral. So the youngest, she missed a real nice 8-point during youth season. And then the oldest, we had a coyote blow the deer out of the thicket behind us. So we never got to see any deer, but we've had a few encounters, but just nothing close enough for them to pull the trigger.
I remember when my son, and of course my kids are quite a bit older than yours. Yours are still very young, but I remember taking my son out, when he was young, and I always had to try to find a way to preoccupy him when really nothing was going on, because he saw my success over the years and watched the videos, and he just thought you could go out and in 5 minutes you'd have a deer or a turkey, and he didn't realize that it didn't quite go that way. It goes that way on TV, but that's not the way it really works.
Yeah.
And anyways, so I had to preoccupy him, because the last thing I wanted to do was bore him, because if you bore those kids when you get them out there, they don't want to go again. So show them a good time, and I'm sure your kids enjoyed getting out with you, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they definitely enjoy it. They always bring headphones, and they got their phones and iPads, and then like I said, I try to make it comfortable for them. When it gets cold, I put a little heater in the ground blind, to keep them warm. And, I just kind of let them do their thing. They ask questions like, well, what time are the deer coming?
Yeah, I know.
We there yet?
That's right. When my son started hunting, they didn't have phones. Cell phones, and so I had to take those little Nintendo games, and I don't even know if kids still play with those anymore. But let's talk a little bit about.
I tell you what, when I was growing up, learning how to hunt for ducks and whatnot, I tell you, my grandfather, he said, "Shut up." That's about all he ever did.
Yeah, well, I got to, when I was too young to hunt, I had to make sure that the dog didn't get too far out on us when we were pheasant hunting. That was my job. But
be quiet. It's what I was always told.
Yeah. Now, Phil, you being a hunter ed instructor, and I always the most important thing that really I talk about is safety. And I could go on and on about safety, and in my seminars I always talk safety. But safety is very important. When I was a kid, I was old enough that I really didn't have to take the safety course, but my dad made me take it, even though I didn't have to. And so, but I'm glad I did. Now some states require that, so it's good that I did take it, but I learned a tremendous amount, and it was a lot of fun. So, I mean, first of all, what would you tell kids out there, maybe parents that don't hunt themselves, but might want to see if their kids are interested in doing it? What are the steps they take to what do they do? Where do they go?
Well, there's a website, Hunter Education. You go on there and you pretty much just type in your zip code, and they'll bring up a list of places that are doing the Hunter Ed courses throughout the year. Right now, we in my county, we got one planned January 8th here in Indiana, in Columbus, where I live. Yeah, you find it just on the Hunter Ed website.
I know that when my son had to take Hunter Ed, when he was old enough to take it, of course, I was working and traveling for a living back then, and I was never home. But my wife actually took him to Hunter's Ed, and of course she had never taken it, and she just took the course with him rather than just dropping him off there. And she actually enjoyed it and said it was a lot that she learned. So it's very valuable. Not only is it, I think, required. Is it required in Indiana for kids?
It's required in Indiana if you were born after 1986, I believe. I may be wrong, but I think it is 86. Yeah, December 31st, 86, I think is what it is.
And
in Arkansas, I was required in the in the late 80s to take Hunter's Ed before I could go duck hunting or even squirrel hunting with my father and my grandfather. I had to have that education before I could get even the kid license.
Right, and every state's a little different. Now, Phil, how early can the kids take the course? At what age?
I don't know. I mean, as early as I can. I mean, we've had some kids in there 4 or 5 years old in some of the classes I've taken with my daughters and participated in. There's been some really young kids in there. They get the instructors sit down with them during the test part, and they help them out. And so it's good. I mean, like I said, I've seen some really young kids in there. I mean, the last class we did, there was probably a couple 5-year-olds in there all the way up to 18, 19-year-olds in there.
Right. So in Iowa, you don't need a hunter safety ed course until you're 12. You can take it as early as 11. So you have to be 11 before you take the course. And then, actually, I think I take that back. You may not need the hunter safety course until you're 16. However, if you have it, you can take it as early as 11. If you have it by 12, then you can hunt on your own. Okay.
Yeah, Indiana's a little different. You can buy what they call an apprentice license, but you can only do that for 3 years. And then after that, they got to have the youth license, and then they have to be Hunter Ed certified.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about safety. What are the biggest issues you think when you're doing a hunter safety education course? I mean, you talk about lots of different things, okay? But what are a couple of the key things that you think are the biggest issue or potential problems that people have in the outdoors, in the hunting industry, or I mean, when they're out hunting?
One of the big things we stress is the safety on the firearm. We basically beat it into their head that it's a mechanical device that can and possibly fail. And by the end of the course, they can repeat it to you. I mean, as much as, make sure that they know what a safety is, point the gun in the proper direction, using life vest in a boat if you're duck hunting, hunter safety systems, some kind of safety harness, and identify your target. That's the best thing, because once you release the arrow or squeeze the trigger, you're not getting that projectile back. It's going toward its intended target, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought the biggest thing for me is just making sure that barrel is pointed in a safe direction, because if it's not pointed at somebody else or yourself, you're not ever going to have a problem, Well, and not other objects and cattle and stuff like that, but in a safe direction.
Well, and right now in popular culture, we had Baldwin, if you remember correctly. Mm-hmm. He shot that person on the set with the 45 and killed him because he didn't check his weapon. He didn't check. They gave it to him. Did he check his weapon? No. So you know, it's. I think everybody should be taught this stuff. I don't think it should be.
Oh yeah.
Anybody should be left out. It should be. It should be in the, you know, in school. Somebody hands you a weapon, you check and make sure it's empty.
Yeah, and you know, I know, Paul. I wish we could. I just wish somewhere down the line we could talk politics in a show, because wouldn't it be fun
politics
to have all these?
We'll definitely get kicked off Facebook then.
Yeah, and of course we don't want to do that. But you know, if you go back and ask him who did the shooting, he'll say that he wasn't the one. So I don't know.
It doesn't make any difference if somebody hands you a weapon of any kind, whether it's a pellet gun. The first thing that I've always known is you check and make sure it was loaded.
Yeah.
Period.
That's right. You need to understand, and I'm sure you know, Phil will say the same thing, and they talk to all their people. You need to understand whatever weapon it is. I don't care if it's a knife or a bow or a gun or a slingshot. I mean, you have to understand what it is you have in your hands, and then you have to be safe with it. And that means don't point it at anybody. Now let's go back, and I'd like to go back in time, because I was one of those kids that when I was young, you know, we had our little play toys, guns, and we ran up and down the street and cap guns, and we were shooting each other. And so, you know, but I was raised that you know, to understand a real gun versus a toy gun. And my kids had toy guns when they were little. I you know, I think it's important, but that's a choice that the parents.
So we have Nerf guns, and we have Nerf gun wars all the time. And, you know, and my girls know the difference, and they have known the difference for a long time, the difference between a real gun and a toy gun, and what to do, what you do and don't do. I mean, you know, you don't need a hunter ed class to instill that safety mind in your kids. I mean, that's the thing. It starts at home, but the hunter ed class is a great opportunity. And I was, you know, this spring when Caitlin took it, my youngest daughter, I knew one of the instructors, and I said, I want to get involved more. And, you know, 6 months later, I got a thing in the mail, said, welcome, you know, congratulations on being a new instructor. So,
nice.
You know, and listen, my kids were raised with guns around the house. I mean, I was a hunter. That's what I did. Yeah. And my kids hunt as well. So, but they have a great understanding of and respect of these weapons. Okay. These kids that aren't exposed to any kinds of those types of items really don't know how to respect them sometimes. And I see that. So would you say that it would be a safe assumption, Phil, to maybe even recommend parents who don't own firearms to send their kids to a hunter education course so that they have that experience and know what a firearm is? Is that?
Well, it'd be not only for the kids, it'd be good for the parents. You know, instead, you know, a firearm is just a tool until it's used in a wrong manner. I mean, that's all it is a tool. But I mean, it becomes a weapon when you use it for something it's not supposed to be used for.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
all right. So listen, safety. We can't say enough about safety. And I'm glad.
I can't help it though. I remember back in the day that I may or may not, I may not have ever not had bottle rocket fights, and so that's not safe either. I can tell you that's for sure.
There you go. You know, hey, you know, we have Christmas right around the corner, and I wanted to talk, and we may go a little more extensively next week, the week before Christmas. We're not sure about what we're doing with the show next week yet, being close to Christmas, but we'll get that figured out. But I always like to give and suggest maybe a favorite recipe or something. Do you have one? And whether it be turkey, deer, elk.
Looks like we're losing Rick a little bit.
It looks like we're losing.
So he's wanting to know about, you know, what's your recipe going to be?
I don't know. What's your go-to meal?
Well, it's just something I started doing last year. I got it from a friend of mine, and it's venison poppers.
Venison poppers?
Venison poppers. You take a piece of venison, small piece of venison, stick it on a piece of bacon, and then stack a piece of cream cheese and a jalapeno on it and wrap it with bacon, stick a toothpick through it. And then I make them with and without jalapenos just because, you know, my parents don't eat jalapenos. My kids don't eat them, but
are they deep fried?
No, I put them in the oven and let's see, I put them in the oven and bake them, and then once they're done baking, I broil them.
And give them a nice crispy outside, right?
Yeah, and I tell you what, every time I've taken them somewhere, people love them. I mean, they eat them up.
Well, I got a great recipe for people that make green bean casserole, and you know, it's not
Throw it in the trash.
No. It's good. Green bean casserole is great. Are you kidding me? And if you don't like it, I get it. But
Are there mushrooms in it, Paul?
Well, cream of mushroom soup.
Yes.
So, but the key to it is that everybody wants to use like a tablespoon or a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. But if you up that, if you're not worried about salt, if you up that and you put in like, I don't know, a 1/4 cup or a little bit less, maybe, depending on your taste, it makes it absolutely wonderful. And if you don't always find green bean casserole to not be that great, you put in the extra soy sauce, and it's going to blow your mind because it's actually really good with the French's onions. Because every year, I always get people that's ever had it. They always send me an email and say, "Hey, can I come by and eat some of that?" I was like, no, I'm not making it for you.
Yeah. Now, you know, there's all kinds of and I think Paul, we filmed one of these recipes, but we'll go a step further. I like to take a deer backstrap, and whether you leave it whole or it's half the strap or whatever, and then cut a pocket into the side. So you're cutting a pocket on the inside, not going all the way through. And I stuff it with blue cheese and minced garlic. And now it's great just that way by itself. And that was our recipe that we used.
Yeah.
But go a step further and wrap bacon all the way around it and throw it on the grill or in a smoker. And it is absolutely fabulous. And don't overcook deer meat because it'll dry out on you.
Yeah.
Was that the stuff that you made for me that I tried out there at the farm?
Well, at the farm we had turkey. But you tried here at the house.
At the house. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm allergic to a lot of foods, and it's really ridiculous. I can't eat fish. I can't eat very much wild game, or it ends up closing down my airways. Kind of like some people are allergic to honey, and it just closes them down. They can't breathe. But I tell you, it was good. It was very good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the taste of it. I was just allergic to the meat. I couldn't help. There's nothing I could do about that. But it was actually pretty good.
Yeah. You know, and wild turkey, if you're looking there's so many ways to cook wild turkey. I remember, first, here's a quick story. The first turkey I shot, and I might give my age a little bit, 1978, okay, was the first turkey that I shot.
I think maybe I had just got the training wheels off my bicycle.
Well, okay. So anyway, I plucked that turkey. I plucked it, and it was the first turkey I ever plucked, and I've shot a lot of turkeys since. That's the only turkey I've ever plucked, too, by the way. And we threw it in the oven, and my mom baked it like a traditional turkey. And although it was good, it was not a store-bought turkey, just because, you know, store-bought turkeys are impregnated with juices and water and so on and so forth, and they stay moist. But a wild turkey tends to dry out quicker. So I have found that frying wild turkey, or if you want to be a little healthier, do this. Just take a wild turkey breast and marinate it in like Italian dressing overnight or for 2 days, and then just throw it on the grill and just slow cook it until it's done. And it is absolutely fabulous, and it's simple. So that's a good recipe. And you know, thing about deer, some people, if you don't cook deer correctly, some people feel that there's a gamey taste to them, and maybe so compared to beef, perhaps.
Ducks do that. Ducks the same way.
Yeah, ducks same way. But honestly, wild turkey and store-bought turkey are as close, except for the moisture content, but are as close to taste as really anything. I mean, I don't know. What's your take on that, Phil?
Yeah, I love turkey. I mean, but we do the same thing. We'll usually cut the breast up, soak them in Italian dressing overnight, deep fry them, and then one time I did take a turkey breast and marinate it and wrapped it in bacon and put it in a smoker, and it was pretty good. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with turkey. I can't tell the difference between store and wild turkey.
My family, they always force me to not only carve the turkey but cook the turkey. It is store-bought turkey, of course, but it's just a matter of knowing the turkey's anatomy. If you want to cut it right, you cut out one giant piece of basically the entire breast will come out all in one chunk if you do it right, and you make little steaks and stuff. But what I found whenever I was cooking them big turkeys, the big store-bought ones, if you have them sit on their breast while you're cooking them for the majority of it, and only turn them over the last 45 minutes, 30 minutes of the time, and the meat is no longer, it's not dry. It stays that way. And if it's really big and it's going to be in there a long time, sometimes you throw a stick of butter and some chicken broth in the cavity if you're not doing stuffing. That's what I do. And everybody always yells about, oh, you do it so good, you have to do it. So I always end up cooking a stupid turkey when I'd rather be doing something else.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, I'm going to make an assumption. I think you're the guy that saves all the wishbones and then get your 7-8-year-old nephew or niece to come over and pull that, and you hold it about 2 inches higher than they do, and you win every time, don't you?
Well, I would only do that if it was you, Rick.
But I'd be on to you though. I don't know.
Little kids, you got to let them win. Because it's not an actual wish that you get out of it, so it's like, let them think it. It's fine.
I got you. So Phil, how's your turkey population? It's been down in Indiana a little bit, but I saw a lot of young turkeys when I was out hunting this fall. Do you think it's bouncing back a bit?
I've been hearing a lot of reports of a lot of young ones, and Sunday when we was on our way to the lease to hunt, Caitlin and I seen a flock, and they was all hens with poults, grown. They're starting to about the same size now, but you can tell they was younger juvenile birds. So, and it was probably 12 to 15 in it, so it was close to the house, which is good. But one of the farms that we have leased, we seen a lot of birds on it this fall. So hopefully, their population's going in the right direction. Wasn't too wet this spring, but we've had a fairly mild fall and so far. So we shall see.
I felt like the deer population is still a little bit low. Would you say that it's just not quite to where it was 10 years ago, you think?
No, and then, you got to look at it, Indiana, introduced high-powered rifles here, probably 10 years ago, probably close to it now.
Yeah, not quite even, but yeah.
And I think I was talking with my dad, and we really, we kind of think that has something to do with it, the deer that we're getting out of, that we're out of muzzleloader or shotgun range are now within range with these rifles, and
well, I
they're
hope
either getting killed or wounded, but you don't know what's going to happen with them.
Right. I hope in Iowa we never do. We can shoot straight wall now rifles and have been able to for a few years, not too long, but
it looks like Rick fell off of the connection. Somebody called him, or he lost cell phone service. I mean, it could happen.
Crazy.
I do know that down here in Arkansas, I saw some. I saw some turkeys not too long ago, and they're little bitty things, not very big at all, and they're full grown. They weren't just little kids,
There he is.
So I don't know if
I'm back, guys. Sorry.
Hey, let me grab you back here. So I was telling him that down here in Arkansas, I found that our turkey population is quite sparse, and
Arkansas is bad and has been bad for several years, and I don't
really
know.
Little too.
Yeah, it's just the turkey population in Arkansas has just not bounced back yet. I know several people that hunt turkeys in Arkansas, and they would like to actually see the season shut down for a couple of years. And I know not everybody thinks that, and I certainly don't want to suggest that be the case, because I know what it would be like if they tried to shut ours down. Fortunately, we have lots of turkeys, so that's not going to happen. But
up here in Northwest Arkansas, go ahead.
There's a lot of states down south that have changed their limits.
That's right.
Spring.
Well, up here in Arkansas too, where I'm at, Northwest Arkansas, we, for the most part, haven't had a turkey season in decades.
Yep.
Anyway, so I guess it's getting close. Time to go, Rick.
Is it? Okay. Well, listen, I know Brenda Potts was scheduled to be on tonight, and we did talk about that, and she actually had something that had come up that she couldn't get out of. So she will be on a show in the future here. She wants to do it, and we'll get her on, and it's unfortunate she wasn't able to make it. But Phil, I know you jumped in a quick hurry, and I'm glad you did. It was good talking to you, and I hope you have a real good Christmas. Maybe I'll talk to you prior to that. But
hey, where's my Christmas gift at, Rick? I haven't got my Christmas gift this year.
You haven't? From Phil or from me?
Well, either one of you. I've been looking in the mailbox.
It's in the mail.
Here we go. If you could stand up and face the other direction, I'll give it to you real quick. But anyway,
I got
Phil,
a broken foot.
Yeah,
I've got a broken foot, so that's why he's joking about it. I can't stand up and turn around without getting the crutches. I see how it is, Rick. I see how it is.
Yep.
Remember,
and I wasn't able to see who was all on. I wasn't able to see who was all on the show this evening. So those that are watching, we appreciate it. Phil, thank you for jumping in and helping us out. We certainly appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. We'll have you on again. But Paul, I don't know what to say with you on the other end there, but I'll call you tomorrow.
Hopefully we get together and do some predator hunting or something after the first of the year.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I got to try to get out there. I was thinking about
I'll do that.
Yeah, John. I got plenty of coyotes, so.
All right. Well, maybe John and I will come up your way and we'll get you out, and I'll just drag the camera along, and you and John can do some shooting. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, hey, listen, guys, we got to run. I appreciate y'all coming along, and we'll let you know what's going on next week. But for now, thanks for watching On the Hunt with Alpen Optics. Good night, everybody.